Yo, yo. Got to excuse the late start. This is the Sporting Dog Archive. Your host, get a hold James. Because we got to get a hold of the game with a random thoughts and opinions. Random thoughts and opinions on this Saturday. I'm coming to you live from the confines of Ghetto Gary, Indiana, aka home of Michael Jackson and Janet and them. 1500 or 2500 Jackson Street. You're under deed. Just came in, just check a temperature check, man. Just working on, still working on my Bulldog Court episode 20. Still working on that, and just working on that episode 20. Coming in to check on the Bulldog community. King T, what's happening? We'll put the link in the chat. Shout out Mad Doctor. Put the link in the chat. We're just trying to, coming on live, doing something different. I told you I'll be working on doing more lives. You know what I'm saying? Just testing it out. Doing more lives, more communicating with the chat, more communicating with the Bulldog community. You know what I'm saying? For our random thoughts and opinions, temperature checks. Just to see what's moving and shaking in the Bulldog community. You understand what I'm saying? There's more people coming here. Maybe turn the music off. Yeah, just coming on here just to chop it up with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Seeing what's what in the Bulldog community. You know what I'm saying? Just to highlight everybody. Random thoughts and opinions. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I've been working on as far as a case is something that behind the scenes, people we talk, and we talk about and we notice like certain, scrawls and semen have been left up. I heard Twin talking about it the other night that somebody got Grand Champion Luke Canyon scrawls just chilling. And to get into more about these scrawls and these animals and these, resurfacing again. Cuban missing links, Little John dogs. We seeing the champion Maracaibo dog. We saw in the last maybe what would you say 5, 6, 7 years we saw the resurgence or reintroduction of the red pirate dog who've been dead and gone for many years. We saw him resurface through Titan kennels and other kennels, bringing that bloodline back into the bulldog world. Uh, there have been others that we have seen come into. We heard J Bo and others talk about people who had scrawled out Grand Champion Banjo. Fat Bill even did my reintroductions. I believe that was Maritimer's champion Tweaker. Brought their dogs back into Salute Dorian. What's happening? Mad Dr. King T. Salute y'all. Dickie Foster. Salute, salute. And I'm just getting into just the conversation of these dogs being reintroduced. We've heard no resurfacing of the banjo dogs, but we do know that the scrawls are out here. You know what I mean? And we do know that there are some others who, scrawls are still in the back burner. In the early 2000s, we saw the reintroduction of Hunter Red. People had scrawled on Hunter Red. I think that was Valentine Kennels or Pit Stop. Uh, Champion Mechanic was reintroduced. That's how you get Pit Stop's Danger, Pit Stop's Hoss. A lot of those dogs, or which would become Armageddon's Danger. Uh, uh, that came off of Champion Mechanic, bred to his sister, would get inbred many years after Mechanic was long gone. We see these reintroductions of these bloodlines into the bulldog world. And I'm just asking the comments of the bulldog community. How do you feel about this reintroduction? Does it make a difference? Do you think that it will freshen up some of the blood by reintroducing it? Salute, salute, Dogman TV, my brother. Matter of fact, shout out to Dogman TV. This is something that we talked about on the show on Bulldog with Bo and touch lightly, and also too behind the scenes about the reintroduction of certain families of dogs that was laid on the back burner. Straws were saved, and these animals were brought back out. I don't know if you heard me mention nonstop about the reintroduction of the Little John dogs back into the bloodline, back into the bulldog world, the reintroduction of the red pirate dog back into the bulldog world in the last maybe 10 years, 5 to 10 years, and these dogs, being across seas, you know what I'm saying, or across the border, being put back on the trail again. You understand what I'm saying? And so, how do how do you feel? How do we feel about this? Is it a non-factor? Is it a refreshing of the blood? Is it a retightening of the blood? How do we feel about the reintroduction of old dogs back into bloodlines? And most people are not, that I see, they are not breeding these animals to outcross dogs. They not waiting all these years to do a total outcross that could make something that might create hybrid vigor. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing people breeding these animals back into similar bloodlines or even in the same family. Like I just said, champion mechanic was long gone. They had scars off of him, pit stop, reintroduced it by breeding it to his sister, you know. So they was able to tighten up blood, that WTC's Rocky blood, uh, before it who was that short and sweet before she died off, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing a lot of that. And that's what I've been studying and researching here recently, uh, for my court case on episode 20, looking at the champion Maracaibo dog specifically, um, a female called Maracaibo. Looking at these dogs, looking at the winners that come off of it, I understand Black Rock has some of them strands, you know. Okay, okay. We're introducing old dogs into line bred dogs of the same lines is working. That's what I'm saying. It has to be around a reason why they're doing this, and not every time. And you know, a lot of these people, you know, they come from people that got these are not, you know, we know this. A lot of them are not peddlers. You know what I'm saying? These people that took the time and money to get these scrolls and to hang on to these scrolls and to keep them frozen for all these years, you know, they usually are serious dog people. So when they doing this, they not doing this for the sale. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can look at Titan, but you know, those people they were getting those dollars in the people's hands that was gonna use them. Also, too, it wasn't just for to say, "Oh man, we brought Hollywood dollars back to the surface." Oh man, hey, look over here, we got the tightest bred Hollywood dollars in the world. Nah, and if you see what they were doing after that, they was putting it back into the old whatever was left of the remnants of good Red or Jocko dogs to try to create or recreate that Mayday stuff. Yeah, yeah. They getting you. They getting you. I put the link in the chat. Um, you know, but like I say, you know, more than welcome to come on. But this is what I'm studying and looking at this present time as far as these animals. And another thing that I'm looking at away from the reintroduction of the lines is consistency across the board within bloodlines. Uh, when we look at different dogs, you know, for me, that Jeep dog have weathered the storm through all kind of fanfare, peddling, or bad mouthing, or you know, or what have you, right? Have went through all of that and uh have withstood that because of nothing more, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Nothing more than just being consistent. No more, no less. They are what we thought they were. Like old Dennis Green said, they were who we thought they were. You understand what I'm saying? They met the expectations consistently, no matter how you cross them across the board, to where they still here and still prominent. And I believe that the main reason is because they are what they are, and they always have been. And they got whatever the flaw is with them, that's what they always been. Whatever the strong points, athleticism, the gainest part, or whatever, that's what they always been. Whatever you thought they was, that's what they was. You see what I'm saying? And so these animals have been around, but what other line? Even if we include Jeep by itself, we say Jeep, Red Boy, Tab, Tramp, whatever we want to say. We want to say the White's Viper. We want to say whoever you want to say. You know what I'm saying? The Tommy Peaks. You know, that's what I'm saying. King T. Is, you know what I'm saying? But when but I need the Bulldog community to look across the board. Who can we say can stand with Jeep as being the consistent? I'm talking about from inception, from the moment Jeep himself come out, his little mates, to this present day. I'm talking about today, have been what they've been. They've been what they've been now. They've been what they've been. And it's very hard for me. And I'm a person that, yes, I'm from Georgia. Yes, may have a little bit of bias, but I can also be objective also too. You see what I'm saying? I can also look at stuff for what it is and not have no favoritism in it. Yes, I use those dogs. Yes, I've had those dogs. Yes, I'm from the state of those dogs. But at the same time, if something else worked better, I'm not blind to think that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Going to at least cross it and give it a try. You see what I'm saying? So, what other line from inception has been that consistent over the years? You see what I'm saying? And I'm even willing to go and consider. I know somebody gonna give me some flack for it, but I'm just looking. May have not been out as long as Jeep. Jeep come out. Jeep champed out what 79? Made the cover of the Sportingdogarchive what 1979? Okay, so over 40, what 44 years, 45 years. Okay, we see this. It's some dogs. It's some lines. Just not one dog name that have. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? And the Mayday line, you know what I'm saying? It's to me, but I'm looking at America, I'm looking at the States. I seen where it kind of faltered. It struggled in the peddler stage. You understand what I'm saying? It was what it was those dogs. You see the Luke Canes, the household names, the one we all know, Barracuda, Luke Kane, 600. You know what I'm saying? Dragon Lady, all these dogs, Luigi, you know what I mean? So we know these certain ones, Twisted, we can call them out. And we see some that came down from those. You understand what I'm saying? The grand champion Deuces of the world, Rough and Tough grand champion Deuce off of Luke Kane. You know what I mean? Stone City's grand champion, Miss Luca, And then it turned commercial. Then everybody and their mama had a Mayday dog. And it crippled it to such a degree that maybe the consistency might have been lost. You know what I mean? It just became so popular. And this goes into the case that I had about the popularity and the marketing and advertisement of the our Latino Hispanic brothers and sisters who campaign this blood heavily, not only on the trail but in advertisement and marketing and putting those dogs in the forefront to let it be known and making a power play to even get the journal from Jack Kelly. You see what I'm saying? 601 Mac, salute, brother, salute. And um, getting this from them, it promoted it, and it did what they wanted it to do. But you can look at it and say it overdid it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they want to get their props. Yes, they want to let you know that, hey man, these Latino brothers, we out here, and you can see that. They let you know we out here. Do what we doing. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, it, they did such a great job, so everybody wanted one. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, and just like I said, I heard Twin last night talking, and he was saying that's the only mistake that they made. You know what I'm saying? They said, Twin One said the only thing looking back at what they did, there was a kennel that did not sell dogs, people. It was not open to everybody. He said that's the only mistake they made. They didn't take advantage of being able to sell those dogs at the clip that other people were selling those dogs. You know what I mean? What Mad Doctor saying right here? Mom was 8 years old. Tony was 11. Mama Kobe 20. We had back in the early 80s. Just started one of our lines. Okay, okay. And so, uh, we're looking at that, and but in Mexico, you know what I'm saying? Black Rock and others. We if you go back, shout out to Bulldog and Boat. I'm gonna continue to shout them out. I love them brothers and what they do. If you don't like it, bite me. But I'm saying if you go listen to the schoolboy and is that David? No, stop. Or was that Dave? That was Dave. But if you go back and listen to the episode, and when Non start asking him about who was the top of the tree over there in Mexico, he talk about Black Rock, and he said they starting to bring Mayday dogs to the western side of the country from back east. They starting to bring those dogs, and they got oxygen tanks on. They come with oxygen tanks. So this is much of the dogs of old. This is much like what we saw or heard of in the mid to early 90s with some of these dogs. Long-winded, take you in the deep end, much like the old yellow dogs, take you in the deep end and drown you. This is what they are saying. So for over there, man, they dog very much alive. We always we and we know that they were using a cross on Mayday with the Chinaman, Grand Champion Rufus, the old champion Tank Scran, to get champion Simplicio, you know, to get the grand champion Jess Dog. And I believe they got another champion brother, which is extremely successful. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff that they come and got out of North Carolina and took back over there and crossed it into the Mayday. You see what I'm saying? So you seeing that A Cart, he know what he doing. He know exactly what he doing to revitalize and remake it for what they need to do over there. Because I guarantee you they will probably get beat down going into the morphines and the cardenas. I like how the school bus said. He don't say cardenias. He said cardenas. That's how he said. Shout out to school boy. But the cardenia blood running into that. Hold up. Let me see what King T saying right here. Right. Peddlers have ran many lines in the ground, but it's still people on the back line that still have the truth of that some of the line, but will never be known. All facts. I hear no lies here. All facts. I hear no lies. You understand? And so they're gonna the truth gonna be preserved by somebody. I always say that. If you think a line it was a good line at one time, it disappeared. Somebody deep in the woods, somewhere in the world, they got it. They still got it. If it was ever good, Somebody still got it, and they got the real shit. They got the real stuff, and they are doing their part to preserve it as it was, with the true characteristics. They're not fooling themselves. Many times people get these animals. First of all, they don't know the true traits and characteristics of these dogs. They don't know what they got. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So how can you say they're doing this or that and they're not showing you the true character? So you go, okay, end up being a good dog and they make all their scratches and whatever, whatever. Okay, we're talking historical now. And this could be another reason why some of these lines go astray also too. They get in the wrong hands. And these people don't know what these lines are known for. And you either rush the dog too early, pass judgment on it, put him down, or get rid of him, and you didn't even know. You didn't even know this line of dog is not a fast starting line. You needed 2 years, 2.5 years. You needed to get him 3 years old to get him to be anything worth anything. You see what I'm saying? But you went and bought the dog and never asked the people. You know what I'm saying? And never asked the people, hey man, do these dogs start fast? Hey man, you mind telling me? They slow starters. Hey, do they? Are they big as a mouth? Do they bite on everything? The proper stuff you're supposed to be asking. I don't care in what day and time you in to get a dog. Just simple stuff like this. I ain't even talking about no nothing wrong. I'm just saying is the dog because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Getting a purebred by a dog and think he won't bark all night long. Man, you finna be in the rude. Your neighbors finna be mad at you. Getting a bowl of your dog and think he won't bite on everything. He won't tear that plastic 5-gallon bucket up. Think he won't bite the whole front of that beautiful wooden dog house you bought or you put together yourself. And he bite the whole front part, the whole door. He bite the whole door off. Everything. The whole front. He just standing up in there. Ain't the whole front bit out. And you walk out there looking like, what the hell? You ain't know what you got. You ain't know they do this. Do what they do. So this is another thing that could happen, and it get a dog bad name. Now you walking around, man. That dog, yeah, I got me a man. He went by that man. That dog quit him. Just says, you ain't know what you had, man. I ain't like him, man. He started going to the back end and all that. I wanted him to be on the head. Well, hell, you ain't know you had a back end dog. Who fault that is? You know what you got. You don't know what the trace is. Let me see what he's saying right here. Got to keep your ear to the ground and to get the best of the lines you need. But that means you working and not just a commercial breed. I mean, salute, Mr. Garcia. Salute. Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you on here. And I'm just looking at, let me see what King T said right here. Right. You got to know the line and traits of what you running. Is it true? That's what I'm saying. Just from a historical perspective, you could be possibly rushing a dog that's a line that's not known for being early starters. You could be um looking at traits and undesirable traits, but you don't know that. Just like the boss dogs, a lot of them they can be shy. They're very shy animals. You gotta if you're not prepared to spend more time with them, if you're just gonna go out there and just throw feed or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, and come in the house and all that and worm or whatever, and you're not prepared to get them off the chain or whatever, and walk and spend time with them and pet them up and talk to them, you may never get the potential that you could get out of the boss animal because they just never gonna come out of their shell. They're gonna always be spooky. That's what comes with some of those dogs. Now, if you're a person that don't want to deal with a shy dog, then and you don't, you know, you don't want to deal with a shy dog, stay away from them kind of lines. It's real simple. And I'm not saying that all boys dogs are shy. You understand? I'm not saying that all boys are shy, but the ones that are, there are some that I know of that consistently show these, throw these shy type of dogs. Very spooky. That don't mean they're not a good, won't turn into be a good dog, but you just gonna have to um take up more time. You may not be able to breed as many because you're gonna have to take up time with this animal in order to get him to come out, and it may take longer than 2 years old. I had one that was extremely when come out the doghouse, and my godson really spent a lot of time talking to him, and he would move for him. But when he see me, he'll go back in the doghouse. He'll run back. He'll leave a full bowl of food on the ground. I mean not on the ground, but in the bowl, and just run back in the doghouse. You know what I'm saying? But when my godson will call him, he'll come out. He'll tell him he's going 1,000 miles per hour. And eventually, over the years, I kept talking to him and spending time with him. He came out. When he turned about 3, he was a whole nother dog, entirely different dog. You know, you put a dog in front of him, he coming out of there. He coming full blast. Not like the dog that was at 1 years old or 2 years old. If you faced him, he's shooting like a rocket back in the doghouse, and one ain't even sticking his head out to let you even see he in there. He hiding, you know. So these are types of traits and characteristics that you have to look into when when you're looking at these types of animals, and and you um getting the knowledge that you need to have in order to be successful with whatever line you pick. But like I'm saying, back to the consistency thing. Like I say, is there anybody who can tell me? Shout out William Torres, Big Witch, KNN, salute my brother. Um, that can tell me of another line that is consistent as the Jeep dog. Because I just think that the Jeep dog and whatever cross it was, Jeep Rascal, Jeep Red Boy, has been strong enough to survive the competition stage of the early 80s when people, it was a lot of people anti-Jeep, and it was getting what they could get, whatever Eli Carver to storm into the Jeep dog. Specifically, they were trying to get with them. And then they survived. And then they went through the fame and all of the fanfare of the success of the Jeep dog, and then it went into a peddler stage. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of people had a lot of stuff. Pit stop, a lot of people, Valentine kennels, a lot of different people, bam bam. A lot of different people, you know what I'm saying, including Crenshaw, others had a lot of these dogs. Rock bottom, kamikaze, these dogs went a lot of different places in the South, and they were in abundance. And so they survived the peddler stage. And really, when I look at it, they survived the peddler stage uh smoother than any other line I ever seen. They're like they seamlessly went through the peddler stage, and maybe because that the people who was peddling who could breed them tight, they still was getting dogs you could use when they landed in the right hands. Even when you bred it tight, you still, you know what I'm saying? It's like the red boy dog. That's probably the only line that I could see where the red boy line survived the peddler stage. You could breed it as tight as you wanted to. You didn't really mess it up, and it survived all of the phases that a popular line goes through. It survived when they showed up on the scene and ran into the Boys dogs and ran into a lot of the Eli Carver, Eli Corvino dogs in Florida. People were looking to stomp through them, blow through those animals. And sometimes with successful, and sometimes to no avail. They would drag them out into the deep end and drown those heavy mouth dogs. You know. So that's the time. Okay, that's the time you put in. But the yard, I say Eli Carver have, yeah, Eli Carver, yeah, Eli Carver. I can, yeah, yeah. I can go with that, KT. Eli Carver been pretty consistent over the years in whichever way. Uh, whether you saying Boomerang Eli, Snooty Eli, through the Chinaman scrams. Yeah, Eli Jr. Yeah, and they still. That's what I'm saying. To this, I feel like old boy the boxer. You know what I'm saying? To this day, you know, and just looking at these animals and saying that these animals showed themselves to be as resilient and consistent as any line in modern history, in the history of us. That's what I'm saying. Because I can't we can't really speak on the Kobe, John P. Kobe area. None of us was around. Even our oldest brothers in here were not around in the late 1800s to say, it was a line back in the days that were more consistent than the Kobe dogs. You just didn't know, so you wasn't around. Well, none of us was around for that. But as in the modern era, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, like people who was alive who's still around, our elder dog men. I put the link in the chat just in case anybody. But our elder dog men who um have seen way more action, more dogs, more lines of dogs. You know what I'm saying? And I remember hearing Fat Bill have a conversation where he was saying, "Well, hell, you could just look at the early 2000s and see the decline on different families of dogs. It was a lot. You could look in the old magazines, the old journals, the old American Game Dog Times, and see that many um there were many families of dogs around that are not around today. You know, um, and people want to know what happened to these lines. You know what I'm saying? Some were confiscated, some were uh just the elder dog men, like the situation with Whack and Spack having all those boomerang dogs, probably had 200, and then he passes away. His wife don't know what to do with him. You know what I'm saying? And they just go all different directions. Who knows who got them? She just wanted to get them away from her because she didn't have no passion for that like her husband did. So hey, but whatever become of those, some of those dogs are lost in history. Some people, like I said, once again, got an opportunity to get a good dog, but didn't know what you had. You know, you don't know what you really grabbing. It's just an opportunity to get a free pit bull, or spend a little money for something, and you just, take it to the extreme with it. So I'm just, who said, uh, King T said Eli Jr. too, and in what way, like King T, like for his consistency wise, Eli Jr. Because Chinaman is that, Niggerino is that, Rascal is that, pretty much. Who else can we name? You want to go back further, Grand Champion Art, which is still Niggerino, Eli Jr., Java type stuff. Uh, I think it was a time when I look at Eli Jr. I think it was a time where people were starting to believe that those dogs couldn't stand on their own because some of the ones that were better were also accompanied with bulletin. You know what I'm saying? Also, and I would, what I'm saying, I would look at bulletin as being consistent because both of them, just that family of dogs being very consistent because since they came on the scene, it's kind of unavoidable. It's almost unavoidable. If you believe that Bullison is the sire of Honey Bunch, then it's really unavoidable. And if you believe, if you were in the time period in the so-called fast lane where you needed, where gameness was just not enough to get you into the lanes and the arenas and into the competition that you would want to be successful against, you had to come see some kind of Eli. I think Schoolboy is in here. He can attest to this with his Schoolboy Big Red Dogs, deep gameness. Even though they had the La Passe Buster, the grand champion Miss Rage in them, but you can tell by the breedings, like when you see what he did and you see the breedings that OTK did, you're gonna have to visit Rascal, man. You're gonna have to visit Bullet Son, and you might be. It's like a give and take game you playing. You see what I'm saying? You may be taken away from your game side a little bit, but you add into your ability. And somebody in here gonna be the perfect blend. Now that's the one I show. You see what I'm saying? And it's the gamble. Everything in the game, in life, man. If in the game don't show you nothing else, this life, everything is a gamble. When you go out your house every day, you taking a chance that you might not come back to this mug. You know what I'm saying? When I drive this semi truck, man, anything could pop off. God forbid for none of us. But this is we all taking a chance. So when you make a breed, I mean, you can test your dogs, and back then you could test and make sure that what they what you thinking they are to be happy to sleep well at night, but it's still no guarantee they're gonna be what you thought in your mind when you bred them up. Even if you got some show enough firepower. You understand what I'm saying? Eddie Kane, well, a lot of these hounds offspring took their place and their name stood out and they was forgotten about. Yeah, this is true also. It can happen also. Yet still competing and working. Salute King. Yes, sir. Bullet Son and Roscoe Jr. were important elements. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. This is what I'm saying. When they you you had to just know, man. So just within that shows to me, if you just do, you ain't got to be doing. Just do your research. Just do your homework. Look at what Mr. Garcia would bring. Look at what Crenshaw put together with Blackjack and all of them. Them same pretty much similar combinations. The Jeep Red Boy Rascal. You know what I'm saying? The Jeep Red Boy, La Passe Buster, Rascal. You know what I'm saying? Bullet Son. You know what I mean? Eli. Rascal Jr. with the Honey Bunch added. You see what they, the Hoffmans of the world. You know what I mean? Grand Champion Pedro mixed in with uh the Honey Bunch. You know what I'm saying? Mixed in with some Jeep, mixed in with some Steel Fire Patty, Red Boy type. You know what I'm saying? Super Nat Boots, Red Boy Jocko. Like these combinations, if you can get that, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like working, like I said, like working a lock, man. That little rolling combination, left, right, pop, and it come loose and it come alive, open. You see what I'm saying? You can see where it was all the chances they took, and they made good on those chances. But they knew the characteristic of every strand. They had studied enough or either seen enough to know this is what I need for what I got here. What I'm seeing, I have all the games I need. I'm not worried about pulling up. But in order for me to be successful over these animals, they got what I got, plus some. I need to bring that in. Shreveport Mike, what's happening? Shreveport in the building. Eric Watson, old man Floyd said he wouldn't have bred to Eli Jr. or Bullet's son. And he's entitled to his opinion. And you know, Salute. Report Mike. You been there. And but like like I say, we're looking at this, we're looking at these dogs that are resurfacing, uh, and just trying to get the bulldog community's opinion on the resurfacing surfacing of these animals in Mexico and different places where these frozen semens are now have been used in the last 5-10 years, and what some of these lines are pretty much back to work again. And when we look at you know the pros and cons of bringing back in old uh, males from the past that's long gone and reintroducing them back into especially the same family of animals. What does that do? The pros and cons. I like to get schoolboy's opinion on that. And do they have? Did you ever or did anybody ever get straws off a big red? You know, that's a good question to ask schoolboy. Did they ever get straws off a big red? Or what's the beautiful dog name? Like I said, I got the big red handbook, and it's the one he signed the picture for me. It's a picture that come with book. If y'all haven't got any one of his books, y'all doing yourself a disservice. I got to get up on my game and get the rest of them books, especially the one on breeding. I want to get the bloodlines. I want, I want to get all of that. And oh, Rowdy, the Rowdy dog. You know, the Rowdy dog. You know, and so we have people who deal in these animals, and they are breeding this. And then I'm also looking at consistency within families of dogs. You know what I mean? And the amount of dedication it takes to bring back a family of dogs. And like I say, also you should go look at um the gems that Schoolboy dropped on his channel. When he got a video up about having a small family of dogs. Like when you're making a line and you got a small family of dogs, he has a video about that. You know, which I think he dropped some gems in there. You know, the gems he dropped about how to get a brood female. Y'all need to pick his brain or go back. When what? I don't forgot what video that was. I think I saved that video. But he was telling you, shout out pressure, salute brother. He was telling you this is a way you can guarantee you can get you a brood female. Take this dog and breed. Like I ain't gonna tell you how he said because you should have been listening. But I ain't gonna tell you. If he tell you, then he don't told you. But he got a video where he telling you this is the way that he know they guarantee. You want your brood female or a stud out. This the way you do it. You breed like this. And then you do this breed. And then you do this breed. And when you get this right here, aha. So that's for y'all to go Schoolboy Garcia channel when you come out of here or get on the messenger in Facebook Messenger and pick his brain on what video that was so you can hear what I heard. Because I sure say that. My ear perked up like a dog. You know. He said Bulletin was just bred more, but Eli Jr. was just as potent. Yeah, yeah. I can believe it. Oops. I know. My bad. I ain't know y'all back there. Yeah, what's going on? Non-stop. Schoolboy. What's going on?
What's going on? What's
How you
going
doing?
on?
All
Salute
right, all
to the
right.
panel and the chat.
Salute.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Pleasure to have y'all on here.
Yeah, you're doing good work. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
All
you
But
my
I
asked if
just
there
was
was
bragging on
straws
that.
off of Big Red.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there was a guy at Livewire Kennels had the last straws that I know. He had, I think he had 4 breedings left. I know he sold one, but I don't know what happened to the other 3. He might have sold those too, but he's Livewire Kennels with Maryland.
uh-huh. I
Oh,
know
Yeah,
okay.
that
somebody
was
they either
Raging Bull
did a breed
Kennels.
with it. Um let's see.
Did you? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah,
Did the breeding
like I
take?
said, now that was so long ago. Yeah, yeah, the breeding took.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, the
cool.
breeding took because I remember the dogs being off the semen breeding.
Right, right,
I can't remember exactly how it was bred or dude, like I said, it was a while ago.
right,
But
right.
I remember when I was
Yeah, that
searching
was
for them
done by
brothers, that one of the ones that popped up.
right. Yeah, that was done by Raging Bull Kennels. After I sold him Big
Oh,
Red, he
okay.
did that in New York. Yeah, and then I guess he sold them to Live Wire.
Hmm.
But yeah, with Bully Son and Eli Jr., uh, some people like Eli Jr. better because his competition was better, I would say. And but most people prefer the Bully Son blood, or you know, because maybe he's more popular, and most of those dogs come from Carver. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I
As
like
far as
more Eli Jr.
competition, though, yeah, yeah, the
It
Right.
night,
seemed like Bullison
I,
was more straightforward and barnstormer. You know,
right,
they use kind of like some get on their face or head to kind of keep them away from it. But
yeah, yeah,
and plus they were built a little bit different.
yeah, because of the longs, baby longs, toughy. That's where you get the short and squatty stuff, and the bloody Sunday stuff. That's where they come short and squatty, like Midnight Cowboy, Shivo, Stomper. The Eli Jr. ones had more leg on them, and to me, the Niggerino dogs I seen and went into, they were smarter, more streamlined, more like a racehorse. And they would
Hmm.
go to the muzzle, they would go to the stifle and the muzzle and the head like that. And Big Red, he beat a grandson of Night Train, Jack Carver's Night Train. He was a game dog and a hard biter, just Big Red barnstormed him. He opened him up real early, like the first hit, and he just dominated. But no, I like this. I like the Bully Son stuff. And part of the reason, like you mentioned, is because of Miss Rage is in the background of Big Red. And
Right.
uh, that's where I consider the mouth comes from, that side. And then I like the Rascal Jr. specifically because my Jeep dogs, the 2 females that I bred to, one of them was mine, one was a friend of mine. They had Rascal Jr. in their background. So for me, the key is Honey Bunch more so than Jeep, even though my dogs are called Jeep dogs because they had a lot of Jeep in them. With the Rascal Jr., it brought Honey Bunch more into the program. Jeep's off a Honey
Right.
Bunch, Rascal Jr.'s off a Honey Bunch. So yeah, there's a lot of methods, techniques you can use. I put a bunch of them out there. I'm gonna put more. Like you said, how to get a brood dog or competition dogs. Breed 3/4, 25, and outcrosses, even inbreeding. People want inbreeding. I didn't inbreed that much because my dogs were already inbred, but I tight bred the hell out of them.
Right.
And like you were saying with the Mayday stuff, it permeated everywhere. I seen it in Mexico, way down south, in South America, Central America, they have the Big John Invicto stuff, you know.
Right. And I just always think that's interesting that, and I always say a popular bloodline goes through certain phases. You get when they come on the scene and they begin to
Yeah,
win, and then you have people that instantly become the adversary of those dogs. We coming out here just to stop these dogs, kill this fanfare, and then they
Yeah.
survive that. Then they go to the popularity of the peddler. Now they became famous. Everybody want one, and then you have the people that get them and you know oversaturate everything with these dogs, and now they got to survive that. And then you get after that is what gonna tell the tape of what I'm saying. If they can survive all those
Yeah.
phases
No,
and
you're right.
still be what they were, right?
Yep. You're
That
right.
that
You're
tells you a
right.
lot.
They, yeah, they got to go through all of that. And what makes them good is if they can survive all that, and then somebody can make it a mainstay of their or foundation or whatever you want to call it, or just keep it going through the longevity. That tells you a lot about the quality of the blood or the dog itself or whatever. Because they're
Right,
gonna all go through that. Jeep, Mayday, Boomerang, you name it, Boleo, it goes through all those phases you talked about. If you can come out on top and still be viable and significant after all that, then you're probably a pretty good dog or a pretty good bloodline.
right.
They're
Yeah,
all
and I think
good.
a lot of
It's
times,
just yeah, just who has them, what they do with them, what they did with them. Speaking of the past,
right,
they got to be in the right
and that's what
hands.
I
You know.
that's what I say. It's like it's more to it than well, they just weren't good enough. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
just not that cut and dry as to why a family of dogs don't survive. Those certain stages. It's not.
yeah,
It's not just like well, it just wasn't very good to begin with. No, it could be a lot
yeah,
of factors that these dogs could get confiscated, like or a
yeah.
sense of like or the turtle buster dogs. It was a small family to begin with. So once the
Right.
foundation person passes away and it's not secured to another person that's gonna carry the torch, of course it looks
Yeah.
like the bloodline just falls to the wayside. But that ain't necessarily what happened, you know?
Hmm. In the same respect that I say they're all good, they've all had bad too. That's why it matters who has them. And one of the
Right,
factors, like you said, the people dogs get confiscated, the people die off, the people, the bloodlines are lost. They stop using them for their original intent. And at one time, turtle buster dogs, they permeated the Great Lakes area. It was all over the place. Everybody used them. And then some of them made
right,
their way to the south, some of them made their way out west. And if they would not being used for their original intent, that's where you see them lost, because that'll happen with any breed of dog, not just pit bulls. That's why we see German shepherds with hip dysplasia and big old Rottweilers, 150 pounds, and they overweight and can't do nothing. And that's pretty much the same across the board. And then some of the
right,
bloodlines, as they move forward, the names of the dogs change and the breeders or owners change. So a lot of times people don't even know where the
Recognize them.
dogs come from or what recognize them. Yeah, exactly. You have to be able to read a ped, go back, study. And like you said about the trait, that's why I always implore people, study the history, study the bloodlines, get as much information as you can. And if you have a particular bloodline, you should know as much as you can about it. And then when you get dogs from that bloodline, do they have the traits that you've been told? Do they behave and act and perform like they did in the past? Because those traits, you can keep them going forever, even though the influence of the dog itself 10 generations back is not there anymore, it's gone. The traits can move forward, and you still have what the bloodline or the dog is known for, even though he's been dead 30 years. If you don't, then you're going to totally change it, and it ain't that blood, and it ain't that dog's influence no more. It's gone. It's lost. That happens too. So
right,
it's everything can happen. Everything you're talking about does, can, and will happen. It's all dependent on who
right.
has them, where they came from, what they did with them, and then in the present day, what are you doing with them?
Right, right. And let's see, like, with these, certain, like I say, certain animals, um, you can see where dogs get lost in the sauce as far as um certain lines getting more popular, and then these lines. But what I come to see in certain, just in the time of dogs I've been in, it's like it's just like what I was just talking about with Eli. Eventually you're gonna have to come see it. You can be anti Eli all you want. You can be, man, I don't like them. Man, they got man batters. Man, they this. They ain't really gamed out. Woo, woo, woo. But eventually you're gonna have to need a out. You're gonna have to come see something else other than what you have. You're gonna have to do an out. So some of these animals, I think they gonna end up resurfacing because of the fact of you don't have many alternatives, and some of these lines that got pushed to the wayside are compatible with the line that's popular. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
the Hollingsworth, the Red Pirate stuff have resurfaced, and that's because of the Mayday when people was going 3/4 Red Boy Jocko or Yellow, and wasn't paying attention so much to the Hollywood side. They started to lose stuff. So now you realize, oh man, we need the other side of it. We've been going away from it so long. We need to bring it back. So it's necessary now. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
it's funny
It,
how the game go like that.
yeah. It always has been necessary. And one of the best ways to get what you're looking for, or to reintroduce something, is just do what was done in the past. People are not going to reinvent the wheel. You ain't going to come up with something new. They're going to have different names, different dogs, and all that. But the patterns can be repeated. That's what made it easy for me, and gave me instant success. I just did what someone else did before me. Is it plagiarism? Is it copying? Yeah, but that's been done all through the history of the breed. That's what the best people did. They just repeated what was done before. And all you're doing is, if you want to go back to the beginning of the breed, all you're doing when you do outcrosses is you're putting English dogs and Irish dogs together. That's what made the American Pit Bull Terrier. So even if you don't know and you're not familiar with the dogs behind your dogs, when you make certain breedings that work, if you go back and look at what was done, you repeated what they did, whether you know it or not. That's why it works, because it worked before and it's always going to
Right.
work. That's the easiest
That's
way to
true.
do it. And you can look at your own peasants, go back and see what they did. Where they put in, they put Bolio, Tombstone, uh, Red Boy Jocko together. That's what made Mayday. Repeat it
Right.
if
Right.
possible. And you need fresh blood every now and again. You got to have it.
Right. You have to. You got to.
Yep. That's what keeps a hybrid vigor there. And then when you do your outcross, just go back to your stuff. You want to keep it going. If you make a 50-50 outcross, okay, it's a total outcross. Two dogs that ain't related at all. Well, what are you going to do after that? You just take that and go back to your foundation stuff, or your blood, and it becomes 25-75.
Right. And to
So
me,
it's not
that's
hard to
how
figure out, but
me,
you got to have that info.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a lot, people going in and not really knowing, like you said, it's a lot to come with what you said, because that knowledge have to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like if you
Yep.
just have to know that, if you just say you just have to know the traits and characteristics, that's a lot of you're gonna have to either asking questions or you gotta see a lot of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
in in in
Do both.
in,
Do,
in what I'm
do both.
right,
Right.
both of them,
Do both.
right,
And like you mentioned
and
with
what I'm
the artificial insemination, that's all you should be doing, is is repeating what was done in the past. You bring those old dogs that have been gone for a long time, but you have the frozen semen, you bring it back to the front. And before frozen steam, that's what people did. That's why you see granddaughter to grandfather breedings, or great uh, great grandfather to great granddaughter breeding. Now you can do it over a time span because you have the frozen semen, at least with the male. And I think that's why, like you mentioned, they ain't really outcrossing them; they're more tight breeding them, you know.
Right.
So you making a new foundation basically if you're doing that.
Right. That's what I'm noticing when I see these dogs getting reintroduced. They're breeding them like you said into pretty much the same family. And
Right.
like I say, these are people who know what, some of these people who took the time to keep these straws, these are serious dog people. These are not
Right.
novices. So they know exactly what they're doing in order to preserve, their family of animals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want, like, the bulldog community to like pay attention to some of this stuff that you're saying, and nonstop, J-Bo, all these people are saying, twins in them, because this is viable information going into the future as to how you should be breeding your animals. Or,
Right.
regardless of what you do with them, this is valuable, you know what I'm saying, information that you need to take with you, to have in your bag, to rip out when you need it, because you gonna need this stuff. You're gonna
Yeah.
need your stuff because we hear about people who breed themselves, and you've talked about this before also. People who breed themselves into a corner, who breed themselves out of pretty much out of dogs. They breed themselves out of all the confirmation, the characteristics, and they looking like, I don't know what happened. I thought I was
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
tightening it. You too tighted. You did too much tighten. Now they got skinny
Right.
legs, they bad built, they don't show none of the characteristics, and you looking like, what
They
happened?
go. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. More than that, they go blind. They're born with one kidney. They have intestinal problems, liver problems. It's not just structurally; it's internal. And then you have mental problems. They chew on everything and break their teeth and all kinds of stuff. So, and that comes from too much inbreeding, or they lose it because all they do is outcross, like that. You got to have a form function to your form. Why are you doing what you're doing? And if you do take that old semen and bring it back, well, what do you do after that? Well, just repeat what was done before or what you did that worked.
right,
That's why I say you could make Mayday again. You can make Jeep again. Not the particular dog, but those traits. That conformation, those builds, those whatever good thing about it, big teeth, whatever it is.
right,
If you inbreed too much, you're going to lose all that. If you outcross too much, you're going to lose all that. That's why I prefer line breeding, because you can keep the foundation, you can keep the traits better. It has crosses in it, so it's not too inbred where they're worthless, and it allows you to continue forward for generations.
right. Right.
And don't get stuck.
Just like I said, I totally agree.
The two, one word that's used that can be a ruination to any blood is purity. Purity, pure this, pure that. That'll kill you, man. Because 100% pure shit is still shit. Yeah, you got to get away from that way of thinking. You're not going to lose anything if you follow the traits. You're not going to lose it, and you shouldn't lose it. And sometimes the outcross, it just allows you to move forward with your stuff. Like I said, you make an outcross, boom. Then you go back to your stuff. Now it's more your stuff. and then you line breed after that. Maybe you inbreed once or twice here along the way, and then you throw another cross in there, or even something that it's outcross itself. It's half what you're using and half something else, so that you don't have that uh, you know, inbreeding faults.
Right. You're right.
And that's what they're doing. That's what. Well, I don't know about now, but when I went down to Mexico, that's all they were doing. That's why they bring fresh blood in.
Right.
If they lacking something, or that something like you said is popular, they want to try it, see how it works, they'll do it.
Yeah, that's right. And I see where, like I say, killers like Black Rocker, killers, certain killers over there, they are using a variety of different things. Like I say, you,
Yeah,
you can just look at the pedigrees and see where, um, you we kind of, I guess, over in the States, we kind of figured they were more of an Eli based, in Mexico because of the morphines, and I like how you said the Cardenas, saying the
yeah,
Cardenias,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
um, and yeah, yeah, I know you say it the way you're supposed to say it, but so I went
yeah,
like when you say, I said, see, I said the way schoolboy said it, that's the way you're supposed to say it, Cardenas instead of
yeah,
Cardenias, like we
yeah,
said, Cardenias short, Cardenias this and that, but
yeah,
you would think that they were more Eli based because of the dogs we saw earlier. But we're seeing,
yeah,
it's shifting, it's changing. Red boy dogs,
yeah,
I never really used to see the front nose booger, old Ed Crenshaw, Stu Fowler stuff, and all
right,
the Eli, you know, I thought that was for me when I think of Mexico dogs, old school, Carver like stuff. That's what come to my mind. Those dogs come to my mind. But like I say, over time, you seeing,
yeah.
that's
Well, you're
they're
right.
using a
They
variety of
were, they
different things
were.
now.
Yeah, you're right. They were heavy Eli stuff. Different strains of Eli, but heavy, heavy on that. And then with the Stu Fowler Red Lady, and then with the Fontenot's Booger, and with the Hunter Red, which is Long's baby, Long's Tuffy brother. That
Right,
that's the kind of the other stuff they brought in with that Eli. But like I said, you can't continue because they did heavy inbreed them. But at some point, you got to bring something else. And they started bringing the Red Boy and even the Eli Zebo, you know, and bringing the Mayday stuff and uh, things like that. You have to do that.
right,
Even if let's say they want to introduce some more Eli, it's going to be different Eli than what they already have. So even though it's related, it's not too tight. So that someone might have heavy Bully Sun blood or heavy Bully Sun Hunter Red stuff. They might bring the what's Cardena stuff, T something T,
T-Bud,
um T Bud, right? Or they might
right,
use the Chinaman stuff. Has some commonality, but it's different. In Baja, you
right,
got Little Gator and Chinaman, that kind of stuff permeated with it. Well, even that they brought some Red Boy stuff in through the bean. He's a heavy Red Boy dog. Yeah. So they ain't dumb, but the same thing happens down there. They screw shit up too. But the ones and it's generally the ones that compete are the ones that are more successful because they compete with the dogs they bred. And I learned that from Boyles because he told me the best dogs you're going to have, Richard, are the ones you breed and raise yourself because you know everything about them. So you have to use your own blood. And even in, I don't care where it is, Mexico, Central America, South America, Europe, Eastern Europe, Balkans, all that. That's what they do. They compete with the dogs that they
right,
breed.
right. Like I say, I even seen where they bring in the the champion co-chiefs, a lot of the old
Yeah,
LG blood, the
there you
Carver
go.
coming, like I say, like you said, they bringing in Carver, but just from a different way. They trying to look at,
Right.
you know, those type of animals over
Yeah.
there. And like I say, it's very interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, those dogs sometimes can have new life over there where they might be guarded and looked over in the other places in the world. They can, like you said, even further south into South America. We seeing, like I say, the Invicto blood, that particular bolio is has in the last few 10 years has become a topic of conversation. You know what I'm saying? The
Hmm.
Invicto blood, which in previous years I had never heard of that particular strain, of
Right.
bolio.
Right.
You know,
And see,
and
again, just like
and
I
we
said, repeating pattern. What are they doing with it? Why are they using it? Well, if they cross it with the Big John, you're just adding
mhm,
Bolio and whatever else is in Invicto. You're adding it to the Mayday stuff or the Hollingsworth or whatever it is. So there's commonality there. And like I said, they just repeating what was done before. It's just different dogs.
Because at first they was breeding into Eli stuff, like
There you go. Yeah,
getting like a Bulls dog, basically.
there you go. And the same thing there. That what's one of the combos in the past? Bully Son Mendocino. That's Mendocino is Bolio's sister.
Bolio system.
And Andy Cat bred to the Eli Booger Two Fowler Red Lady stuff. It's the same patterns, just different dogs.
Because
I'm
And
glad you
like I
brought
said,
that up.
Bolio's brother, he bred it the same way
yeah,
or similar ways.
right, right. So like I said, even if they don't know the past in their dog, they're going to repeat the same thing if it works. And something that really didn't
Right.
work that good, so they might make the breeding, and then maybe them dogs ain't going to fit in their program. But the ones that do are generally the ones that worked in the past. So I can see why they would bring Mayday stuff down or even Red Boy stuff. Because if you go by even just going by Red Boy's pedigree, whether it's right or it ain't right, you're still introducing the Kobe side to the blood. Kobe Daibo if you breed Red Boy to Eli or Bully Son or whatever it is. If not, if it's OFRN or whatever the hell it is, that works too. It don't matter because he's a producer. Red Boy is a producer, and he had a lot of offspring and progeny that produced. So even if the pet is
Right.
different or fake, whatever it is, the dog himself was productive, and so were his children and grandchildren, all like that. So there's a good chance it's going to work for you, whatever blood you stick it to.
Right. And stick to the grid. Just stand to the grid. Stand to
Mm.
what's been working in the past. It's gonna work. It'll be the same thing in the future. In the present. They're sticking to
Yeah,
it. Like I said.
yeah,
Just like right now, Mexico, a lot of people they're trying to bring back the Eli Carver cross. It may look a
yeah,
little different. They're using a lot of that that young bad man stuff
yeah,
and bringing it to
Right.
different Eli dogs. Cause they said they're trying to get it back. But right now, the ones who were Eli fans, before they said they're starting to lose all the little Eli stuff down there in Mexico.
mm,
They looking to
yeah,
make say, man, you gotta find me Eli dog, man. Nothing but cheap red
yeah,
boy
yeah,
stuff out here now.
yeah, yeah,
So they're
yeah.
trying to
I
bring
mean,
back that Eli Carver cross.
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. You got to go. Somebody's longevity is, part of that is because they know how their dogs are bred. They know everything about them. They know the past. But you have to look forward. What am I going to do next? Where am I going to be at in 5 years? And one example I gave is with my breedings, I would write out a ped 3-4 generations ahead. And of course, I don't know the dog, so there's blank spots here and there. If the dogs worked out, I filled in the blanks. If they didn't, I took the ped, threw it away.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I had some direction that I was going to go in. If it worked out, great. If it didn't, understandable. And there was some breedings, which included one breeding and all the children and the mama, because the daddy wasn't mine, but the mama, all her children, I got rid of all of them. I just deleted them from my program because they weren't good enough. That happens. Some breedings you're going to make, looks good on paper, the dogs are good, whatever. And it just don't click. It just don't work. So rather than me trying to make it work in the next generation or the next whatever, I just delete it. I don't even want to mess with it because, like you said, I had a small yard. So I couldn't afford to make a ton of breedings and keep a ton of dogs. I could have. I had the property, but I didn't want to. Because the more dogs you have, the less time you can spend with each one of them. And the less developed, the less developed they're going to be. So when you have a small yard, everything you have on that yard should be of high quality. No ifs, ands, or buts, no maybes, no wait and see, none of that. Now, and you have to know the blood. Like you said, some of them, they're late starters like that. If you like that or you accept it, that's part of your bloodline, your family of dogs, then you're going to wait on them. You're going to wait till they're a year and a half, 2 years, even 3 years sometime.
That's it. You got to know what you got. You know what I'm saying? And know, like you said, if you got that kind of patience, or you know what I'm saying. And you know, back in those times, you know, I remember back in the days, it was people that they pretty much tempered themselves, so to speak. Like if they had the slow ones, they would put them to the back of the yard, and the fast starters they would play with, at the front of the yard. Like they would know to get them time, to leave them alone, because it's gonna take a while for them. But all the fast starters up front, I get a chance to play with these quicker than those, and that'll buy me time until the other ones get ready. You know what I mean? So
even Ham Morris and the Divines, and they had another guy who was their protege. I forget his name. A lot of their dogs were known for being slow, so they wouldn't even mess with them till they're 3 years old. They understood it, they accepted it, and they waited. And then they could beat top competition with 3.5-year-old dog or 4-year-old dog. They're an adult, they're mature. It's hard to beat those kind of dogs. If they're on the same level of quality, style, athletic, all that stuff, generally, the more mature dog is going to win because they're more of an adult. All things being equal, that could make the difference. 2-year-old dog versus a 3 or 4-year-old dog. Without knowing anything, I'd put my money on the older dog just because he's more mature.
Mm-hmm. He don't have no puppy to bring out of him. He through with the puppy.
Nope.
He don't have no puppy to bring out of him. He grown.
He grown.
Got that grown man strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like putting a 30-year-old boxer with a 18-year-old kid.
Y'all saw what
most of the time.
In Long Beach.
Most of the time. Yeah.
He got knocked out. Great prospect. Winning the whole fight.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm talking about sleep to that grown man hit him.
Yeah. I mean, you see Roger Mayweather beating the shit out of these people. He's 60 years old, And a lot of it has to do with experience, but that comes with age too. They've been through it all, seen it all. And even dogs that ain't late starters, some guys still wait till they're 3 years old just because they know, hey, he's grown now. He done been through it all. He's been schooled out, went against every kind of style. Nothing's going to surprise him. Nothing's going to make him panic. A lot of times, that's why you see a first time up dog beat a champion or a grand champion.
Right.
Now they do have them lines to kind of start fast and fade later
Yeah,
on. Like
yeah,
you might match them at 20 months old, but like when they 3 or something, it's like they just lose everything.
yeah,
It's like what
yeah. They
happened?
got
Hold on, y'all
yeah,
was.
yeah. No, you're right. Usually because they get burnt out, they get wore out,
I know some bantam
and
dogs like that. I'm talking about 18 months old. They were grown dogs,
yeah,
and then 3 or 4, you be like, man, this is the same dog.
he ain't the same.
Hey, man, he ain't the same at all.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said, 'cause I know
yeah.
people who match
I mean,
dogs at 18 months old and 20 months old because they know that hey, they dogs start fast, and then they might not
yeah,
have till 3 or 4 to keep
yeah,
it going.
yeah. A lot of people made that mistake. They start fast, they're ready to go, they show good, and they put them in there young. So by the time they're 3 or 4 years old, they're all used up,
They're all used up.
and they expect them to do the same thing at 3 that they did at 18 months. But they beat the hell out of them so much, the dog just quit. I'm done with this shit. That's enough.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
even
But
like the attitude changed a little bit. They used to be
yeah,
wild
it
on the
does.
chain, jumping and
Yeah,
wild and just all outdoor. Man, won't shut up. Man, they was
yep,
4 years old. The same dog just be
yeah.
just chilling,
Usually
walking around.
because
I'm
you,
like, huh?
yeah, usually because you broke their spirit. So you have to be able to recognize that. He may have
Yeah,
shown
that
game,
happened.
but if you break their spirit, if you ruin them, they ain't gonna be game no more. That's why you don't see 60-year-old men in professional sports for the most part. There's exceptions, but for the
Yeah,
most
all
part,
except real. Yeah,
yeah, is too much, man. Everything hurts more. It's harder to move. Their timing's off. Their reflexes are off. You know, everything has a time limit, but it's up to the person's experience to recognize when enough is enough and when too much is too much. So if a dog, like a lot of my dogs, they started young, and I used to start them young until I learned better. That's stupid, right? So because if they're hot to go when they're young, why not just wait till they're older? It's not. They're not going to change.
Mhm.
Something could make them change, like getting beat the hell up all the time. But for the most part, they're not going
Right.
to change. If they ready, if they start young, they're going to start later too. But they need that development. They need that mental and physical development. And you can't, if you expect a dog to show game every time you put him in there, at some point he's going to quit.
See,
they just do everything on the
that's it.
yard. It's like they just been through so much on the yard and road. By the time they get to the show, they don't have nothing left.
There. Yep. Finished through.
I like. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, you seen them go 2 hours already off the
Yeah.
chain about
Yeah.
40
Well,
times
yeah.
already. Like, how much more
Yeah.
you want?
Yeah. Exactly. Like that. Because somewhere in their head, they thought or got it in their head, they supposed to show game every time, no matter what. Doesn't matter the conditions, doesn't matter his own personal conditioning, doesn't matter
Yeah,
the,
wormed out, wormy. I
nothing.
seen
Yeah, and
dogs
that's ridiculous.
worms, so poor, and then just wasn't it.
Yep.
And then that dog occurred, and they get rid of it.
Yeah. Yep. And it ain't at that point. It's more the person's fault than the dog's fault.
hmm Dog coughing, got heartworms, coughing coming to the box.
Yep. Fleas, ticks all over him.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I
He's
remember that
anemic.
story you told that time, schoolboy, about the dog rolled up on his back, and you could look in the box and see the fleas crawling on the dog.
Yeah, they were jumping all over his belly because the belly, the hair is not that thick, so you could see him. And this was an experienced dog man, successful. Another one, he, right before the show, he goes empty his dog out. We're all standing around. He go by the tree there. He emptied the dog had the runs, bloody runs like that.
Oh man.
And the guy goes, "What the hell is that?" And my friend was there. He goes, "That hookworm. Your dog got hookworm." But they brought him in like that.
Brought him in like that. So I mean, you ain't even start worming from the beginning.
Didn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't do what you're supposed to do in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the
And
beginning,
eventually,
yeah.
hookworms will kill the dog. That's one of the worms that kill them.
Giving
So,
them, giving them
even experienced guys show that they make mistakes. Everybody does, but if you don't learn from them, you keep repeating them, you're just a dumbass. Everything I talk about, and we said this before, all the mistakes I talk about, 99.9% of them I made. That's how I know from experience. I did it.
Right.
Stupid. You should know better. Sometimes it's ego, sometimes it's ignorance. Sometimes it's what you thought you knew, but you didn't. Whatever the reason, it's a mistake. But if you don't recognize it, if you don't acknowledge it and then do something about it, you're going to repeat them over and over and over again. Always wondering, why did my dog quit? How come his conditioning was shitty?
Yep.
That's one of the hardest things that dog men have to deal with is their own ego.
Mhm.
And criticism,
Oh,
somebody criticize you,
Yep.
you want
take that.
you want to, yeah, you want to take their head off. They criticize you, you want to beat the shit out, you want to take their head off. But if you really listen, maybe they're telling you something that could help you. It's hard, I know it is. I'm that way. I don't like to hear shit from nobody. Even though I'm nice and all that,
Right.
but I learned that, hey, maybe there's something to it. So you might get mad in the beginning, cuss them out and this and that, have an argument, whatever it is. But once you go back home, you need to reflect on what they said. Maybe it was true.
That's real. That's real.
If it wasn't, then fuck him. Who cares? but
You're right.
but if an experienced dog man give you some good advice, even though you may feel insulted or whatever, man, take it to heart. Might help you.
Right.
Even if you don't agree with him, he might, like you said, you can pull something from it. Like I got
Yeah.
a couple cats. I know they haters. I know they gonna hate. That's what they do. And,
Mhm.
and even still, I always ask them the question. I just want to hear what they want to say. What they gonna say.
Right.
I might get something out of it. I know they gonna hate. I don't care how good it look.
Yeah.
Man, next time, man, I think it looked like it was fading a little bit. Fading a little bit. We went 3 hours. All right, what do you think I should do better, man? You need to do this. You need to do all right. I might get a little something from it. But I always go to them anyway because I know they gonna hate.
Yeah.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that
important.
constructive criticism. Go ahead. Tell me
Yeah.
what you don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. And some of them, especially a lot of haters, they don't have a lot of experience. They don't. So, even if you listen to what they say, they really don't know what they're talking about because they ain't really done nothing. Those are the most critical people. All the old timers I hang around with, even if they were kind of that way when they were younger, when they get older, they change a little bit. They ain't so critical. They're more open to giving you information. Those are the ones that I listen to. But someone who just talking shit or want to get under your skin or just a hater like that, most of the time they don't have a lot of experience. If you ask them what you do and where'd you do it and who you go into, they're vague on it. Oh, we went, them old boys. Yeah, we went into them Louisiana boys. Yeah, them Ohio dog man. Well, which ones? I know a bunch of them. Oh, well, I can't really say. You full of shit. Or they read an article, and repeat what the article said. And some of them I said, yeah, they make it sound like it come from them. They thought it up. I said, yeah, I read that. I read that in Sporting Dog Journal. Yeah,
You're right.
Carver said that. Yeah, Carver said that. Heinzel wrote about it in a letter. Tudor wrote about that. You didn't invent that. That ain't you. You just stealing people's
Right.
shit. But they want to
Right.
be involved. They want people to give them credit or think their opinion matters. Experienced guys don't really do that. They'll be able to tell you what they
No.
did, who they went into, and they'll talk about their losses also. It ain't win win win. I beat them. This and that. I was talking to Leander Daigle and Jim Stinson one time, and the Daigles had beaten Jim Stinson twice in a row with Cajun Ike. They beat Stinson and Glover's champion Tuffy, and they beat Woods Oso Negro. They had borrowed Oso Negro from Kimsey Wood. Cajun Ike beat them both. So they were talking about that, Yeah, he got me twice, and that was a good dog, this and that. And then Daigle turns around and say, yeah, but you came back. You got us back too. You beat us with this dog and that dog. That's more of a conversation that they have. Not like, I beat you and you couldn't beat me, or, I was better than you, or nothing like that.
Dang, that's a heck of a feat. You beat Oso Negro and you beat Jim Stinson with the Tuffy dog. Which one you
Champion
said? The
Tuffy, yeah.
Tuffy?
Yeah, Tuffy.
Dang.
He was a seven-time winner, one-time loser. And they went into Daigle's Cajun Ike and they lost. Well, they turned around and borrowed Woods Oso Negro, which is Rascal's brother, went back into Cajun Ike and lost to Cajun Ike a second time.
Dang.
So they went into each other again, but they didn't go back into Cajun Ike, we can't beat that dog either. No more of that. Yeah. Can you bring a different one? Yeah. It's like well, they beat him with Stinson beat him with champion Willie, the son of Zebo. And so they were talking afterwards, and that was at 48 pounds. And Daigle said, man, Willie was a bad dog. You go, anybody want to go into Willie, you should change your dog's weight from 48 to 46 pounds so you don't have to go into Willie.
Dang. That's crazy.
But yeah, man, you're making, I hope you have good luck with your channel, putting a lot of good info out there, and you're bringing up topics that sometimes others don't bring up. So I think that's important,
Right. I appreciate it.
I like hearing
it.
I like hearing it because I'm not familiar with the frozen semen stuff too much. So I get all that information for myself too. It's good. I like all of it, So
right.
I wish you great
and a lot of the
success.
stuff, I appreciate it. And like I say, a lot of it, like I say, spawn different thoughts from hearing. When you have conversations on your channel, different things that you say, and I'm like, man, well, I wonder this and this, and then like, you talked about, the Bullets and Manacito, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, a lot of people don't know Bolio, the Bolio Eli technically had been done before, you know what I'm saying, Bolio to the Eli females when they brought Bolio's sister to Bullison and got those dogs, you know what I'm saying? We don't hear a lot about that stuff, but it happened it happened before, you know what I mean? Just certain stuff that you always bring forth from a historical perspective. And like, you know what? I never thought about that. Okay, well, if they did that, then where did those dogs go? And yeah, they probably in Mexico. Somebody, this and this and this, and then cross to that. And, it's just a whole nother side that we don't know. I always think that's interesting. We always discovering new information,
Right. And
I'm sure you know
I mentioned Handicap being Mendocino and Bolio's brother. In where they get the name from in America is the dog's name was actually Goras. Goras means cap in Spanish,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So down there they call him Goras. Up here they call him handicap. I'm guessing taking from the dog's name, Goras Cap, and then handicap from the cartoon, right?
Right.
Well, later on, what grand champion that's famous has the same name, handicap,
Mm-hmm.
and he was primarily Bolio stuff. And then they take him, breed him back more to the Boyle stuff, which has Eli in it, Grand Champion Cherokee Chief, and Euler Jr., and even Thrift's Bumper was the son of Eli Jr. So even that, years
Right.
later, they're repeating what they did in Mexico a long time ago.
That's serious. That's serious.
But like
Well,
you
I
said, if
think
you
it's
don't
about
know,
that time, man.
all
Oh,
right.
go
Well,
ahead.
thanks
Go
for
ahead. What
having
you
me
finna
on.
say?
I
Go.
was
What
just
you
going to
finna
say
say? Finna
that
what you was saying?
I was going to say that even if they don't know that they had done that in the past, they're still repeating the same patterns in the future that was done in the past. Like you said, they might not even
Right.
know who Mendocino was or Goras or none of that, but they're making the same type of breedings when they bred handicap years later.
Yeah.
But that's all I want to say. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Like I said,
I
keep doing
appreciate you
what you're
for
doing,
coming
brother.
in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Appreciate you
All right.
nonstop for coming in. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go in, and if you have not gotten or subscribed to Schoolboy or Bulldog with Bo Dogman TV, you need to do so. If you need to check out the Schoolboy Key, the Big Red Handbook, and all other literature that Schoolboy has. You know, you're doing yourself a disservice. I need to get on top of my game and get the rest of them. I have the Big Red Handbook, but I need the rest of them. And so
Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you for doing. I appreciate the Schoolboy for all that you do. Continued success, sir. And
Thank you.
we out of here.
Salute to the chat and the panel. Thanks. And like I said, keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm out. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.